Good morning, Farah.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Good. Good. Yeah, I think Patrick is Patrick is already there. Patrick,
Yes. Hi,
Yeah, I'm
Pat.
here.
are you there?
Hi.
Okay. Okay, I think I turned over the presenting to you. Okay, Farah, can you give me a little synopsis?
I
Any
had
comments so far, about the service? Anything at all that you care to share with us?
Um, Actually, I appreciate these monthly calls that we're having, um, and the insight that you guys are providing, especially when it comes to what our competitors applying to their channels and how we can improve ours. So these are very valuable insights for us. And I'm trying my best to convince the team to apply these changes, but it's taking time because we need approvals from many people in charge. It's not only one guy who is responsible for these things.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. I understand in a large organization, it always takes a long time to institute any changes and implement them because you have to go through different steps basically at each time, and that always takes time. But I hope at least that they take advantage because we see lots of potential for growth and increased subscriptionship, as well as lots of other gains, because this is the whole purpose of doing a research like this and coming up, with new ideas, etc., to implement. That's good. That's good. As far as
Yeah.
the process, do we need just to get your advice, as an insider? Do we need to do anything at all to ensure that there is, seamless not only integration but continuation of the service in the future, after the year is up, because our contract right now is for 1 year. Do we need to do anything beforehand, 6 months earlier, or is it, once because it's ongoing, we don't need to do anything and, it will be up to you?
No, I need to check with the procurement department about this, and I will let you know.
Okay, great. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Patrick.
First off, I'd add, yeah, you have to hand over the presenter.
Oh, I did. Didn't I?
No, you're still on your own.
Okay, Patrick. Do you have it
And
now?
No,
Yes.
it'll denote it. I have it now. That's fine.
Okay, good enough.
I don't think we'll need to share the screen too much anyway. So, yeah, I want to let you know we are waiting on one more person on our end. We have our head of reporting. I don't know if you've noticed, Farah, we've made a few changes. We customize it per client depending on how many competitors you're looking at. Nate's joining us now. He's made a few changes. I think we finalized them this month just for the easiest way to sift through all the data. So I think you were just going to make a comment about that and make sure there's no preferences. So, Nate?
Hey, Pat. How's it going?
Yeah, hi, Nate.
Hello, Ned.
So yeah, Nate, I already, this is Farah, by the way, as I already introduced you, told you you're the head of reporting. So if you could just let her know what changes you made and kind of give an overview of that. So.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I don't think we've met before.
Yeah.
So, as you probably could tell with the reports over the last several months, we've made several changes to the format. And, initially up front, dealing with this many different channels and competitors, it's just, basically honing in and really getting into the best way to present all of this data in the most efficient way possible. And I just was curious, have you noticed those changes, and is there anything else that we could do to get these reports a little better for you?
Actually, the reports are really good because they're clear and straight to the point. This is like what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and that's what we really try to do, is to get a lot of the, as an analyst, it can be really easy to put a lot of fluff in there, but, you just want to get those key points up front and to really try to convey the important trends that we're noticing month to month, and specifically, what's going on during that specific month we're reporting on.
Okay.
So, go ahead, Pep.
Yeah, great. So yeah, my last question, Farah, is there any? Do you want me to continue updating Tarek every time we send you an email? I wasn't sure if he should be CC'd on any communication or if that was a one-time.
Yeah, just keep him CC'd because now he's handling the YouTube across the channels. So, and if he was able to join.
Okay,
fine.
and do you have any update? I don't know what the timeline is as well regarding getting internalized access. You know, it's for your sake just to get a little more insight. I don't know if there's been internal discussions or if that's something that's still tabled.
It doesn't. It's not going to be anytime soon, unfortunately, because they're doing like some cleanups internally. So we're not giving access to any supplier until the cleanups are done.
Okay, and more competitors as well. It's the last before we get into this. You had mentioned last month. You guys had both mentioned about 3 or 4. Is that still something you have interest in, or something else that's tabled and maybe in a few months?
Yes, but it's going to be in a few months, maybe with the renewal of the contract.
Okay. And so basically you guys have a lot of, Tarek said last time, you have a lot of house cleaning and working on the internalized videos on the site before getting to YouTube, it sounds like?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And I think that's, yeah, this should be fairly short, straightforward. First I want to verify you see my screen with the dashboard and the mouse.
Yeah, yes. I have a couple of comments maybe when you finish the presentation.
You know, why don't you go ahead beforehand, just to get them out of the way. Go ahead, Farah.
Okay, for the trending, when I export the report, I just get the top 10 videos. Can I have the viewing figures of each of these videos, like in the Excel sheet?
Viewing figures, is that just views or addition to views as well?
The views. The views for this month.
Okay. Is that the only request there? Yeah, because right now I believe we didn't want to give too much details. If you hover over, it gives the views. So you just want them included in the Excel export?
Yeah, exactly. Because every time I need to include these in my monthly report, so I need to export the report and then go back to the dashboard to get the number of views for each of these. So it would be much easier for me to export them and then paste them in my report.
Okay, I'll get back to you on that. As far as I know the is the Excel the only need for the numbers to show, not the PDF format?
Yeah, Excel is fine.
Okay. All right, I'll get back to you on that. As far as I know, that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, and the other point is that I noticed that in April, you remember when we discussed the difference in figures between your dashboard and the YouTube analytics? I noticed that for April, the difference is is very minimal.
Yeah, like I said, Farah, I mean, we are 100% sure that it's all because, as we said, privatized, unlisted. What happens, I spoke to another company this last couple of weeks who told me what they have a lot that they weren't aware of. The business insight team is the technical team. If they accidentally publish something and they make a small change, it's still keep it in the unlisted status. So it really comes down to minimal changes. Everything public, we are 100% on. So, but yeah, that's good. I mean, coincidentally, if it's also becoming more consistent, that's good as well, because we can, of course, have 5% variance because of time of day, your data between ours. Our data updates a lot more often than the YouTube Global does. So. Okay. You have the PowerPoint as well. I'm going to read off the PowerPoint on my end if you want to follow and just kind of go through the dashboards a bit more naturally. Okay, so this is the third monthly report. As usual, we're looking at some historical data, but most of it is based off comparison from month to month. We had no change in the overall ranking. We're going to start as we're in Al Jazeera English. We had no significant changes in the overall ranking. The main trends we saw, as we had before, is the industry leader Russia Today continues to separate themselves from BBC and Al Jazeera English, their top 2 competitors. This is for a variety of reasons, including a recommendation we made at the end. But they are clearly at the top of the market, and they look like they're going to stay there based on monthly improvements. Lower down, Sky News continues to improve significantly and is a threat within the next 6 months to really enter that top tier with you, BBC, and Russia Today. And A key statistic we had regarding Russia Today is they showed more total views and subscribers than both BBC and Al Jazeera English combined this month, as well as a significantly higher percentage increase in both metrics. I'm going to move the PowerPoint over. I think it will be a bit more clear here. So. Thank you. One second. So yeah, aside from that, we also had a very small drop in the views and subscribers across the board. Anytime there's a drop in the market as a whole, it just means that any efforts you put are going to be further multiplied because it's less competition across the space. So.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, overall, the biggest takeaway from these is to copy more. Russia Today and Sky News are the two best positioned competitors we've seen. Sky News being a little smaller has the biggest impact. The rest are pretty stagnant as a whole in that case, so those are the ones we're going to continue to take a closer look at the best performing competitors and channels. Other trends we've noticed in this segment in particular is people are much less likely to like, dislike, and comment as a whole. But they are much more likely, as of the last few months, to rate videos. And this is also consistent to social media as a whole. It all really comes down to the time and effort. People are willing to click one button. They're not willing to give insight and recommendations, within the commenting themselves.
Yeah.
Other than BBC continued to be at the top of satisfaction as a whole. That factors in the like-dislike ratio ratings, and it's essentially it for Al Jazeera English. The biggest concern we had, so aside from the market as a whole, is Al Jazeera. We've made a few recommendations. As you said, you're trying to get them through externally, but the fall in subscribers is, significantly. That's probably the most important metric as a whole, either subscribers or views, but that continues to go down significantly. So I would just be another reminder, to try to take action. It would really help, particularly the first month recommendations we have, to get that number up so we don't continually see these decreases, particularly at the top of the market.
Are we talking about the gained subscriber?
We're talking about the gained subscribers. We're talking about March versus April. You had significantly less subscribers gained on the channel.
Oh.
So your views went up 60%, yet your subscribers in April fell 30%. So that's where that really shows it comes down to the engagement of the videos themselves, which is very unusual, to be honest, to have views and subscribers that disproportional. So. For the next niche, Al Jazeera Arabic, things have been a bit more stable, not as much variance as in Al Jazeera English as a whole. Mention again, if we do update competitors in the future, Al Alam is literally insignificant. We noticed this month they didn't publish any videos, and their market share is less than 1% of the market as a whole. So if we are doing that update, it's a strong recommendation to really not include them anymore unless there's any additional insight you guys happen to be watching. So, like the other market, all key metrics decreased across the board. Is a little bit more pronounced, 5% in content, 3% views, etc. Industry leader Al Jazeera Arabic performed the worst in the segment, as out of all 14 competitors, they were one of only 2 that actually had decreased across the board in all key metrics. Once again, I wanted to highlight right here, this to us at least is very alarming, as the industry leader historically to have the 5th most views in the month compared to the other competitors. This is out of everything we've seen this month, I see that as the biggest red flag, of course, that you'd want to relay internally. France 24 Arabic had notable increases as a whole, 80% views, 45% subscribers, and CNN Arabic is also growing significantly as well. France 24, I didn't mention last time, but they've been going down on the English end, and they have been, it looks like they've been putting, based on the changes, they'd make a lot more effort into their supplementary accounts other than their main, so to speak, the Arabic, and I forget what other channels they have individually. Engagement rate has decreased. That essentially comes down to how much people are willing to comment. This was consistent with the last niche where people are willing to comment less and less as a whole. And once again, ratings is something that was more significant. That's what users are more inclined to do in the future, is rate each individual video. Now, France, it's relevant that France 24 Arabic had the most influential video in the market this month because they're not one of the larger competitors. It just shows more and more that they are gaining momentum in a few different ways, so it's definitely worth taking note of. Al Jazeera documentary. I don't know. Did you have a hand at all in the increase in videos in your two smaller entities, Farah, or is that something that was already planned internally, out of curiosity?
No, actually, it was planned like a couple of months ago for the Al Jazeera documentary. They had a change in management, and they're implementing new ways for publishing the videos.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah, I just noticed the first two larger entities. I'm sure it's a lot more horizontal movements to move forward due to the size. The two smaller entities have performed much better this month. So, Al Jazeera documentary once tripled the amount of videos, resulting in 40% increase in views, and most importantly, more than double the number of subscribers. So obviously, it's very important because we had mentioned that Nat Geo Abu Dhabi had been catching up the last few months. So if Al Jazeera documentary continues to increase its output and production, it should stabilize itself as the leader over the next few months, because it doesn't look like Nat Geo Abu Dhabi is committed to creating more content. I'm using more numbers. Nat Geo Abu Dhabi still had 50% more views and subscribers than Al Jazeera documentary. However, if current trend continues, documentary is poised to surpass them. So once again, just emphasizing that you guys have gained significantly, and we're only looking at a 2-month period with the same to actually succeed them on a month-to-month and keep up with where you've been historically. Al Jazeera documentary is releasing videos with significantly less duration. That was one of the recommendations we'd made before across the board, but once again, if you said that was pre-planned, that's just something that we'll continue to stress, is you want to break up longer videos into different channels, different chapters, and that really lets people engage with them and lets them not feel as much of a commitment each time they sit down to watch a video. Aside from that, the views per opinion slightly decreased. The views per opinion, to remind, is aside from engagement rate is based on comments, views per opinion also factors in likes, dislikes, rating, anything that a user can do to give your company an opinion. This was slightly decreased for Al Jazeera documentary. The two niches we had mentioned before, it had increased because there were so many more ratings. In this case, everything just went down as a whole when it came down to likeliness to give some kind of rating. And relevant again, the last few months, Nat Geo Abu Dhabi had the most influential video. This month, Al Jazeera documentary did once again. Mubashir Misra. Nate, do you remember, did we have a change in the competition in this particular niche?
No, it's fine. We can keep them like this. We're not putting much effort on these channels.
Okay. So yeah, once again, Mubashir Misra had almost as much content as the rest of their competitors combined, leading to a significant increase in views the last month. So basically, you're doing well. We had some issues the last couple months, but Mubashir, in particular Mubashir Misra, are performing well, and it's showing in the results. MBC Masra decreased significantly across all key metrics, and in the last couple months they were actually one of the bigger increases. Aside from this, similar to Al-Alam and the other niche, Al-Hadath is an outlier in the niche, less than 1% market share, and nothing too relevant in that case. So. And Al Jazeera Mubashir Misra had the most relevant in the market. So now I'm going to get to the most important. I'm going to explain this bringing in so we made one primary recommendation this month, and it's based off something that Russia Today has recently done on the main channel. So what they've done within their main channel is that they have added a custom tab. You know, by default, all of these channels, when you go to home, they have a default layout that's established by YouTube. And it's really not too intuitive to engage with the network. It's a very messy page, long story short. So Russia Today used YouTube internally to create a custom layout that not only gives a better, more logical flow to show playlists and RT videos not so messy, but they also have social media integrated to show all the latest tweets. So they did have an increase, even though it's not within our obligation. We've watched your Twitter the last couple months and had an estimate of incoming traffic, and there was a minimum of 10,000 different people clicking directly from Twitter within the YouTube account. So like everything else, this comes down to, we've stressed a few times, integrating the channels, and every time you show your brand, kind of making sure that someone can engage with your social media, YouTube, your main site, and not having them completely separated. So this is our... Sorry, go ahead.
When did the Russia Today implement this? Was it the previous month?
No, it was, we'd seen it 2 months ago, I believe.
Okay.
I don't have the exact date, but I believe it was sometime in March.
Okay. I just want to keep track to analyze the figure if they had like a major increase in the number of subscribers or viewers due to this change.
Yeah, like I said, we look manually only once a month in this case, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it was sometime in March on that end. So, the other asset here, as you see as well, is they have all their other channels directly integrated. So we mentioned this a little bit last month, but it is important every time someone looks at one of Al Jazeera's entities to have the rest integrated to be able to seamlessly go front and back and not have to look around and search, particularly if someone who's looking for English or looking for Arabic, a different place, happens to be in the wrong, in the wrong segment. So we just broke this down a little bit of detail here. Same thing I went over, and included a screenshot that's hyperlinked directly to the page in case you need to relay that internally.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. The last detail I hadn't mentioned about them is YouTube also gives the option. What's important is this tab, you don't need to click on it individually. You can choose the option within YouTube's channels to automatically go to this tab when someone clicks on Russia Today. So if you click on the Russia Today link, even though there's a home tab, it does go to this customized tab. That's another setting internally, and that's once again part of the recommendation. So,
Okay.
do you have any... do you have any questions aside from this? That's essentially it from our end going through the month.
No, everything's clear. Thank you so much.
Okay, and also I think Ned had mentioned you might be going on a bit of leave. Farah, is there another contact we should have? Best contact to relay, or is your leave not going to be significant over the next?
No, it's going to be for 2 weeks only, so I think maybe you can still contact me. I can reply to him.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that clears it up. All right, thank you. I hope everything is okay, and it's always a pleasure to deal with you and to continue to provide this service to Al Jazeera. So hopefully that we continue at the same level at least. And if you should have any questions or so, please don't hesitate to communicate with us, and we'll be more than happy to comply and provide whatever we can.
Thank you so much for your help and your time.
Okay, good luck, Farah.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to next month call.
Okay,
Right, thanks
great.
a lot, Farah.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. I think Pat